Good Sunday morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. We have more severe weather possible today, especially across the East Coast, and this does include the threat for tornadoes, and then a potent storm system with heavy rainfall, possible flash flooding, and strong winds will occur across the Northeast into the Great Lakes going into early on this week, and then a warming trend is likely later this week, especially across the Great Plains in the middle of the country. We'll get to those details later on in today's video. But looking at the infrared satellite imagery here this morning, definitely a very classic low pressure system up here with an upper level trough across the Great Lakes, that comma head shape here to the low pressure system. Usually on the southern side of these, this time of year, we have the threat for severe weather, and that is very much so what we have going through the rest of today. We have two slight risk areas here. The first up here into southern Maryland, southeastern Virginia, getting into the eastern Carolinas, and then that secondary slight risk down into south central Florida going through the rest of today, including the threat for a few tornadoes. So looking here across southeastern Virginia and eastern North Carolina in particular, in this brown shaded color from Raleigh down through Fayetteville and even the Wilmington area and the outer banks of portions of North Carolina, we have to watch out for a couple of spin up tornadoes going through the rest of today. And another area here in the brown outline down here into south central Florida, Naples up here toward Fort Pierce and the Melbourne area. Definitely watch out for the threat of a few tornadoes here going through the rest of your Sunday. But if you guys are not yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, now is the time to subscribe. If you like detailed weather breakdowns on North America, including southern Canada, the United States, and the tropics, now is the time to subscribe to the channel down below. I have daily weather forecast updates each and every morning at 9 a.m. on this channel, and it's also very important to press the like button, the thumbs up button down below the video. It helps to get all this weather information out to as many people as possible, so I definitely appreciate that as well. But looking at the timing of the storms here through the morning hours, that's going to be the prime time for some damaging winds, large hail, and a couple spin up tornadoes. If it were to occur today, it would be later on this morning into the early afternoon hours. And you can see not everybody will see the storms, but if you get under one of these, definitely watch out here for some warnings. And as this goes through the afternoon, much more of the mid-Atlantic could get in on the severe weather potential up here into southeastern Virginia, southern Maryland, getting into eastern North Carolina. These storms need to be watched for a few brief spin-up tornadoes through the afternoon hours. Otherwise, this will turn more into a heavy rain and flash flooding threat across the Northeast, including the I-95 corridor going through this evening, and then that will lift up across southeastern Canada into portions of Maine as well, upstate New York, getting into northern Vermont, northern New Hampshire through your Monday morning commute, and will be drying out across the mid-Atlantic during your early Monday morning, but not before producing some heavy rain. So your total rainfall accumulation from today all the way through Tuesday morning, decent rains up here across the Northeast, the mid-Atlantic, and even down into the southeastern states as well. And in fact, the heaviest of the rains will be falling across that I-95 corridor. So if you live in New York City, Boston, Hartford, Connecticut, here into Rhode Island, up into portions there of Maine, yeah, we could be seeing 1 to 3 inches worth of rain with localized higher amounts possible through your Tuesday morning commute on May 2nd. And in fact, the threat is there for flash flooding, especially if you live in these yellow shaded colors across southern New York State, getting into eastern Pennsylvania, Maryland, Delaware, down here into New Jersey, or up here into New Hampshire, portions of the Boston region into northeastern Massachusetts, or Maine. Definitely watch out for the threat for flash flooding now all the way through your Monday morning commute to start the month of May. But as we start the month of May as well, we will see the system start to wrap up very tightly across the Great Lakes region during the early part of this week, and that really lingers through your Tuesday morning commute as well. So definitely seeing a lot of strong winds with this. So with the stronger low pressure system, especially on the eastern side of this, up into the Northeast and the mid-Atlantic, we'll have to be watching out for some stronger winds this afternoon and tonight, especially as you get into portions of southeastern Canada, the Northeast, down into the mid-Atlantic. Some of these areas could be seeing 40 to as much as 60 mile per hour wind gusts, with the strongest of the winds up here possibly mixing down into upstate New York, getting into Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, and even the Montreal region into Quebec, Canada. Definitely watch out for that through tonight. Then we'll see the wraparound winds as the system deepens to a 979 millibar low across the northern Great Lakes. We'll see northerly winds on the backside on Monday, funneling in the colder air, and that's what we'll see going through Monday. So you see these are your low-level temperatures just a couple thousand feet above the surface, and you can see those blue anomalies starting to crash into portions of the upper Midwest, the Ohio Valley, and the Great Lakes, and this strengthens even further with that colder air aloft on Tuesday, May 2nd. And again, I know it's early May, guys, and we're, again, probably tired of the snow up here, but unfortunately, we're going to see more moderate snow bands set up across the UP of Michigan, northern Wisconsin, even from Green Bay to Milwaukee, a decent snow band setting up there, and then back toward the Traverse City, Michigan area. Definitely watch out for that on your Monday morning commute. Going through Monday evening, much of the same. It's still going to be snowing across portions of the Great Lakes. That will continue into your Tuesday morning commute before finally starting to dry out going through your Tuesday evening time frame, with maybe a few lingering rain or snow showers across southern lower Michigan, northern Ohio, into western Pennsylvania as we get toward your Tuesday evening time frame. So looking at the total snowfall accumulation from now through your Tuesday morning, May 2nd time frame, definitely probably need the snow blowers and the shovels up here still into northern Wisconsin and into the UP of Michigan. The closer you get to Lake Superior, with snowfall amounts well over 10 to 12 inches in this area, and it's even possible we have some grassy surfaces getting in on some of the snow accumulations from Green Bay to Milwaukee. A dusting to a half an inch is possible. That same thing can be set up here into northern lower Michigan as well, with up to a half an inch possible, especially on those grassy surfaces through your Tuesday morning time frame. But that likely will not stick around too long, as we are in early May. But during that period, as it's snowing with the strong winds, we definitely have some visibility restrictions up here into northern Wisconsin and the UP of Michigan. That's where we'll have those moderate to major and at times borderline extreme travel impacts the closer you get there toward Lake Superior. So if you're traveling up in this area, definitely take it slow and be mindful of the snowfall and the blowing snow as well. But through early on this week, we are going to remain cold across the eastern two-thirds of the country. The ridge is back here with these orange and red anomalies across western Canada and the western United States. That holds strong through Wednesday. However, we will see this ridge begin to break down and move a little farther east as we go in toward the northern plains and the upper Midwest by that Wednesday, May 3rd time frame. And finally, by late week on Friday, we'll see much more of those orange anomalies overspreading the heartland of the country from the Midwest, the northern plains, all the way south to the Gulf of Mexico. And we'll start to get rid of the cool anomalies across the eastern United States and reintroduce those across the western United States with a trough later next week. So in response to that, temperatures will be back into the 70s. Again, it will take time, but we will see a warm up across the central and southern plains here on Monday, and then really starting to see those 80s return from South Dakota into Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, down into Texas there across the Great Plains on Wednesday. 70 degrees up here into the Minneapolis-St. Paul region, 75 there in Des Moines. So we're starting to warm up in the upper Midwest on Wednesday. And then we'll see a little bit more of a cool down across the upper Midwest late week, but still into the 60s. But look at the heat down to the south in Texas. We're in the low 90s there from Killeen, Texas, over there to the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex there, San Antonio, Austin, even the Houston area into the low 90s as we get into Friday. And that will remain locked in place even into the following week, going through Tuesday, May 9th, with that ridge centered across the Great Plains with a trough on either side of the country. So that is what we'll be seeing going into early on next week as well. And we're going to have to watch as that ridge begins to move across the middle of the country, more energy, more instability building, and we have a little shortwave starting to move across the eastern Four Corners region as we get into Saturday, May 6th, this next weekend, and then that starts to propagate across the Midwest, and then a stronger trough will begin to develop across the West Coast early on in the following week on Monday, May 8th, and this could be the trough that could be bringing more big problems across the middle of the country going toward your Mother's Day weekend time frame. But looking here this next weekend on Saturday, May 6th, we have a dry line set up again. Dew points will be back into the 50s, 60s, even some 70s down here into portions of East Texas and the Arklatex. And that continues on Sunday with maybe those 60-degree dew points getting as far north as the Des Moines, Iowa area, and a solid dry line. So we have that lift with that dry line during that Saturday evening time frame, and that's where we could see a broken line of some strong thunderstorms develop, probably more so with the damaging winds and large hail, but I would not rule out the potential for tornadoes. We'll fine-tune this as we get closer, but as we go into Sunday morning, those storms lift up here across Nebraska, Iowa, getting into the Dakotas, Minnesota, and maybe even eastern Kansas. Probably more of those small hail, strong wind type of thunderstorms rather than tornadoes, but nonetheless, still watching that on Sunday. Then this will lift up, turn into more of a heavy rainfall threat than a severe weather threat as we go into Sunday evening, as it pushes across the Twin Cities region, Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, and then down into the Kirksville, Missouri area during that time frame. But nonetheless, we are going to be seeing some beneficial rain. So no matter if we see some severe weather or not, the beneficial rainfall aspect of this will be there. So going through next weekend, in the drought areas, we're going to see at least some rainfall. Will it be very heavy? Probably not, but we definitely do see a quarter to a half an inch of rain. Some areas may be overachieving, getting close to an inch of rain, especially into the lower Missouri Valley, the Arklatex, and then back down across the southern plains. Also will be active across the West Coast there. So from Washington State, Idaho, western Montana, down into Oregon there, and even California, watch out for heavier rainfall there going through this next weekend on Sunday, May 7th. So we definitely see a couple of inches on the way for Portland, up there towards Seattle as well during that period. And I am also concerned, like I said, the instability will be growing with that ridge across the middle of the country. So next weekend's time frame on Saturday and Sunday, May 6th and 7th, I think from Kansas City on the northern end to all the way down to the Dallas-Fort Worth area and areas in between, we'll have to be watching out for some possible severe weather with damaging winds and large hail, likely the main modes of severe weather, but I can't rule out a couple of tornadoes with this setup going towards next weekend. We'll definitely fine-tune this as we get closer. If you guys want additional weather forecast updates in addition to this YouTube channel, definitely hit the description down below and follow me on Twitter at hweather420. I do update periodically throughout the week on that as well. But thank you guys so much for watching. I definitely appreciate it. Remember to like the video, give me a thumbs up, leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. I'll get to those later on today. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're new, and hit the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast updates on this channel. Tomorrow I will be putting my May weather forecast out for the entire month of May, so stick around for tomorrow's video as we break down the temperature, precipitation, and severe weather trends going through the month of May on tomorrow's video at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Have a great weekend, everybody, a great rest of your Sunday, and I will see you all in the next video.